From the All Indiana Podcast Network.
The All Indiana Podcast Network.
This is the News 8 Daily 8.
Now the latest news.
Kylie Conway has all the news you need to know.
And more.
Please stand by.
Now, here's Wish TV's Kylie Conway.
Hi, this is Kylie Conway, and this is the News 8 Daily 8 for Wednesday, May 27th. Expect a gradual cooling trend into the weekend. Chief Meteorologist Ashley Brown says tonight it'll be mild and muggy under mostly cloudy skies. There is a chance for a few spotty showers later today. Low of 68 degrees. All right, starting us off today, Mayor Joe Hogsett and other Indianapolis leaders outlined new guidelines for churches, restaurants, and other retailers today. Hogsett bluntly told people to wear masks, saying anyone who doesn't think it helps is simply wrong. The mayor also announced that beginning this Friday, May 29th, houses of worship can resume with indoor services at 50% capacity as long as people practice social distancing and wear face coverings. There will not be a limit to socially distanced outdoor services. Starting Monday, June 1st, the cap on public gatherings bumps up to 50 people. Restaurants will be able to serve both inside and outdoors. This will still be at 50% capacity, and staff will have to wear PPE and practice social distancing. Salons can open, fitness centers and pools at 50% capacity, and malls and other retailers bump up to 75% capacity, all with social distancing, all wearing masks and PPE, of course. And all with social distancing, masks, and PPE, of course. Naptown CrossFit in downtown Indy was prepared to close its doors prior to the mayor's announcement on March 17th, given the uncertainty of the virus. They've been able to keep most of their full-time staff employed, though, doing virtual training classes. Naptown CrossFit has been preparing for the reopening for several weeks. The walls have a fresh coat of paint. There are specific stations marked out on the floor in keeping with social distancing guidelines. Every station has disinfecting spray, cleaning solution, and towels. The restrictions are expected to lift further in the next 2 weeks, and all businesses are allowed to fully open by 4th of July. Part of Monument Circle is back open tonight. DPW crews reopened the southwest quadrant after getting feedback from IMPD. The entire southern half had been closed to allow more outdoor restaurant seating. DPW says it's monitoring traffic patterns around the city and will make other changes if necessary. State health officials announced 370 new COVID-19 cases in Indiana today. More than 32,400 have now tested positive. Another 21 Hoosiers have died. That brings the statewide death toll to 1,871. All right now, the state is going to be investigating the impact of the coronavirus on your utilities. Our iTeam8 here has been following the story for weeks. Utilities that want money for lost revenue. Consumer advocates want more leniency for customers. I have the pleasure of welcoming in iTeam8 Stephanie Zepelin right now. Stephanie, you've been, again, following this for so long. Tell us a little bit about this. Clearly, customers don't want to help out in this scenario here.
Yeah, and one thing that advocates are saying they are very suspicious about is, if you'll recall, IPL had a rate hike to improve some infrastructure. That went through, that passed the IURC, and then Duke had another one proposed that was going through. So this is on top of rate increases they've already had for at least those two utilities. So they're saying that because they are losing revenue, because they are putting people on these extended payment plans, not disconnecting utilities, that they're missing out on money. But on the other hand, consumer advocates say this is exactly not the time to talk about this. What we should be talking about is extending moratoriums on disconnects, extending the ability of people to be on special payment plans, those kinds of consumer safety net protections to make sure that people have power and gas during a pandemic.
Yeah, there are a lot of people struggling right now.
There are a lot of people struggling to pay rent and to keep the lights on. And so they want to make sure that protections are in place for the state. So there were those two kind of disparate petitions put forth before the state, and the state's like, you know what, we're going to combine them into one thing, and we're going to deal with them in two phases. So it's all under one heading for the state, and you can offer your opinion to the state. We're going to have that information online, how you can weigh in on that as well.
And that's some sort of petition. People are just saying, I don't want to do this. And also, what are the utility companies saying as far as where their finances stand?
Yeah, so when we reached out to the it's like a group. It's like a collective of several different, it's power companies, it's gas companies, banding together in the state, outside the state, regionally kind of. When we reached out to them to say, do you know how much money potentially you guys have lost? They couldn't or didn't give us a number. They just said, it's significant, et cetera, but declined to give us an actual figure as to what they're kind of missing out on.
And that's frustrating. That's a huge piece of the puzzle, because it's one thing if you're losing out on profits. It's another if you can't afford to continue providing utilities to people. There's a huge discrepancy there.
Right. And utility companies will make rate increases because of things like we need to repair our infrastructure, or we have a lot of people who've defaulted on their bills. They'll offer a rate hike for the rest of their customers. That's pretty typical. But to offer a rate hike because you've lost revenue is very, according to people in the industry, very atypical. But think of it like in a criminal court case, the prosecutor has to prove to you beyond a reasonable doubt that the person's guilty. The utilities have to prove to the state, kind of beyond a reasonable doubt, that they are in fact missing out on money. They have the burden of proof. They have to bring evidence, like in a court case, before the state to say, hey, we really do need this help.
And when are they wanting this by?
So the first phase, which is addressing the consumer protection element, the state wants to have a decision on that before June 30th, when the current moratorium on disconnects will end. The second phase, we talked to industry experts, they think it could take at least several months to get through.
All right. Well, we'll have your whole report online at wishtv.com as well. Wish TV you can watch as well. Stephanie Zepelin, thank you. Always superb work that you put in the I-Team. Another one that affects a lot of people. And we're going to move on from the coronavirus right now to an issue that has been just hitting the news all across the country. A lot of people are invested in this one. The family now of the man who died in police custody wants the officers involved charged with murder. There's new surveillance video now that shows the moments before George Floyd's arrest. It's from a nearby Minneapolis restaurant. It happened Monday night. The video shows two police officers crossing the street and talking to passengers in a car. One person gets out, then officers take Floyd out and handcuff him. Eventually, two officers pull Floyd out from the ground and cross the street. We showed you the viral video of what happened next last night on Wish TV. You can find that online. That video shows where Floyd pleads he can't breathe while an officer kneels on his neck for several minutes. The four officers involved were swiftly fired, but Floyd's family says that's not enough. Minnesota Senator Amy Klobuchar says the evidence shows charges should be filed against the officers. The FBI is now investigating what happened. We'll certainly be following this story for you. And if today's SpaceX launch is successful, it will be its first crewed mission into space, a historical launch. 4:33 is a set launch time. Weather's been finicky so far. Everything is on schedule. It is all a go. This will be the first space launch since 2011, if it does happen. Bob Behnken and Doug Hurley are the astronauts on board. According to Pop Culture, they joined NASA's astronaut corps in 2000. They both have a military past. Hurley was a pilot in the Marines, and Behnken was a pilot in the United States Air Force. Godspeed. This has been your News 8 Daily 8 for Wish TV. I'm Kylie Conway, online at wishtv.com, and follow us on Facebook when you search Wish TV.
Check out more podcasts from the All Indiana Podcast Network now at allindianapodcastnetwork.com.
allindianapodcastnetwork.com.